Hello everyone and welcome to Martina's journey. I don't know if I ever did like a formal introduction on my page, but my name is Martina and I am a 42-year-old mom of two. I also am a caregiver to my grandmother, who is 89. And today I experienced some issues trying to handle some medical care for my grandmother. So I just wanted to come on and just give some tips about caregiving. This has been a journey, to say the least, with caring for my grandmother, just because everything was so new, trying to learn all of the ins and outs to caring for someone who is older. So I figured I would talk to you guys on my way home about the tips that I have. So I'm driving, so you may see me looking out or looking at my paper when I come to a stop to go over the tips. So the first thing, I have 8 tips. So the first is to plan. Taking care of your loved one requires so much planning. You need to plan out meals, especially if you're caring for your caregiver like I am, and I work outside the home Monday through Friday, 8 to 5. So I'm gone majority of the day. So from 7, I leave the house about 7 a.m. And I don't get back home until around 5:30. So planning is key to making sure that your loved one have diapers, if they're in diapers, or like I like to call them, underwear, adult underwear. Making sure they have their meals planned out, making sure that clothes have been identified that they should put on, what it is that you want the sitter, if you have a sitter in the home, to come in and provide for you while they're there. Like when our sitter get there in the morning, she gives my grandmother a bed bath, and I'll go more into later, going into my grandmother's illness, but she doesn't walk, and she can't, so she doesn't go to the bathroom or anything on her own. She wears like the adult briefs, and she gets her baths in bed. She's really bed bound, but just because she's so used to getting up and going and doing, I try to keep that same little momentum, since she's not able to do the things that she once loved, like gardening, cleaning, cooking, that kind of thing. So just making sure that you have a plan, making sure it's wrote out thoroughly. On the refrigerator at home, we have a schedule that we keep with my grandmother, so it just gives the caregiver who's there throughout the day while we're going to work, going to school, a timeline on the things that you want done, how often you want them moved, how often they should eat, ideas on what they should eat, things that they like to do. Like my grandmother likes to listen to gospel music, so we have something on the schedule called music therapy, where they just play gospel songs for about 30 minutes. Also, like after they eat, how long do you want them to sit up? We like for Grams to sit up at least 30 minutes after she eats. Sometimes she may say she want to get back in her chair, but at least sitting up to digest that food properly. So just making sure you have a plan when caring for your loved one, or if you're thinking about caring for your loved one, it's a big responsibility. So being is planned out, write it out as much as you can, and it takes the stress off of you. So even though it's still stressful, I'm not gonna lie to you and say it's not stressful if you have a plan, but it does take the stress off of you, and help give you like a guide. Number 2 is always have a backup plan. And I'm sorry if I keep saying a lot, I'm trying not to say it, but having a backup plan allows you to not be stuck. Many times we're supposed to have a sitter that gets there at 7 because we leave at 7 to relieve us, so I can go to work, or I can go to run an errand, or I may have an appointment or something that day. Having a backup plan just in case that person does not show up. We've had numerous times where our sitter did not show up, and it's hard to kind of give someone last minute notice. So just having a good relationship with the provider, allowing them, I'll double check. Like if I have a sitter who I know that we have, and I know that they may be known to call in or known to be late, I'll give them maybe like 5-10 minutes, but I really don't have a lot of time to spare in the morning. So as early as possible, if you realize that your sitter is not going to be there, or if you know you have someone who doesn't show up on time. And my backup is my mom, so I may call her the night before and say, look, we have a person who may or may not be here, in the morning. And she doesn't stay far from us, but by me giving her notice the night before, she can kind of prepare herself to be just ready to go if I call her first thing that morning, seeing that we got a call from the company, or got a text from the sitter, or sometimes it's after 7 that I get the information that the sitter is not coming. We have a new company now, and they try to be a little better than the company that we had before, but we're still running into issues. We just had an issue on Saturday where the sitter who normally works on Saturday already kind of pre-warned me that she wasn't going to be there because she had experienced something on that day a couple years ago, and she just didn't feel like she would be able to work. But I thought within the week, she'll deal with that and still come, being that she was obligated to be there. But you just have to still have a backup plan for those instances where people just don't show, they just don't show up. And it's more common than you think. Also having sitters who come who may realize that it's too much for them. So sometimes you may have to wait until the company can provide another sitter who's willing to take that information. So what I like to do if the sitter gets there, I like to kind of go over with them what all is required. And if you want me to do a video about that, just let me know in the comments about like just steps to take when getting a new sitter. So I try to go over everything and let them know up front that this is hard work. It's nothing to be taken lightly. This is someone's loved one, and we want them to be taken care of to the best of your ability, not just doing something to receive a check, but you're doing what you're supposed to be doing throughout the day. So having a backup plan is always, always, always key when caring for a loved one. The next tip is set a routine. Like I said earlier, we have a schedule that's on the refrigerator. We want the sitter to follow the schedule as much as possible, as far as getting her up, giving Grams her bath, giving her meals. We try to keep the same schedule in the evening time when I get home from work. So making sure she eats at a certain time or by a certain time. If dinner is going to be late, I try to provide a healthy snack option to her, just so she's not, my grandmother's metabolism is very high due to an illness. So even though she may have ate an hour ago, hour and a half ago, she burns that food really fast. Even though she's not mobile, she doesn't get up and walk, but still she's always like snackish. And she's tiny. She only weighs like 110 pounds or 105 pounds. So she's tiny, but we still try to provide her with some type of snack in between meals, or if the food is going to be delayed. And many times the food is just delayed because if I have to stop to the grocery store after work or something like that. But I try to from doing grocery pickup, I try to do it during my lunch break when I take my daughter home from school, just so she can go ahead and get a head start on that. So setting a routine is going to be beneficial to you because it allows you time to get everything in order that you need to get in order, to cook, to do laundry, to tidy up the house, and then at night you can give yourself some wind down time. So you're just not just going and then you just crash, which some days you may just crash, but you want to have it set up to where you can give yourself an hour or 2 hours of wind down time and do some of the things that you enjoy. So the next thing is ask for help, number 4. And I have a hard time with this myself, just because my immediate family is small on my mom's side, which is my maternal grandmother who I'm taking care of. And a lot of times people just don't want to help, even family. So if you don't have family, finding a friend or you build a good relationship with the sitter. We have a good relationship with a former sitter that we had with another company where I had a function and I call her, I pay her out of my pocket, and she comes over and she provides care for my grandmother. This is somebody who I know is going to do what they're supposed to do. I don't have to watch the camera to make sure that she's doing what she's supposed to do. She's doing what it is and probably more than what she's supposed to. It just gives you a sense of comfort that you can go and attend a function, you can attend work or go out and run errands and know when you get home everything is going to be done. So ask for help. If you don't have any family to help, ask a friend, ask church members. You'll be surprised the people who would just volunteer and come over and sit for a couple hours. We also have a volunteer that comes on Saturdays for 3 hours, and on Sundays for 4 hours. It's through the Alzheimer's Project here in Tallahassee. And she's perfect with my grandmother. She don't change her, but she feeds her. She'll give her something to drink. She can kind of position her on the chair, so she can do some things with my grandmother, but she is a volunteer. She's just not allowed through the program to change her. So what we try to do is change her right before she gets there, and we'll change her again like right after she leaves if we're not at home. If we're at home, we may do a little mini break and change her. And she comes in and she do things like polish my grandmother's nails, read to her. They may sing songs just to give you some some relief, because caregiving is hard, like hard work. I did not realize how hard it was, but I know my grandmother would do the same for me. The next thing, number 5, is protecting your loved ones. So if you work outside the home, having cameras is very, very important. I wish I would have learned this early on. Not to say that anybody was doing anything to my grandmother, but just the fact that you're having a stranger technically in your home, even though the company hired them, they have a level 2 background check, you still don't know this person until they work for you for a while and you get to know them, and get to know some of their ways. So having a stranger in your home with your loved one, you just want to make sure, one, no abuse is going on. So when a sitter comes, I don't just make a big announcement and say, hey, I'm recording you. What I do, the camera is in plain sight. I'm not hiding it. Everybody sees it. You see the light flashing on it. So I'm not hiding it behind anything. You know you're being recorded. And believe it or not, I've had people to come in and still do stuff that is wrong, even though the camera is right there. So having a camera gives you that validation to go back and double check when you have those unsure doubts about sitters who come into your home, who's caring for your loved one. You want to make sure that they're being changed, they're being fed, because we've had experiences where sitters have come in and just let my grandmother sit for hours and hours and hours with the same diaper on. So making sure, double checking, even if I don't look at the camera every day, I can always go back and check it. We have an SD card that's in it. So even if I don't catch it then, I can always roll the camera back and catch it. Because believe it or not, this young lady, this was like a couple months ago, she was sitting with my grandmother and she went in the refrigerator to give my grandmother a yogurt, and she put her feet in my refrigerator to close it. And I just thought that was the nastiest thing ever, because you walked outside, you're walking all over the ground. This is something that we eat out, and you chose to close the produce drawer door with your foot, with your tennis shoes on that you've walked all over everywhere with. So just those little small things like that, like if I wouldn't have went back and looked at the camera, I would not have caught that. So make sure you protect your loved ones. The next is number 6, research the illness. Researching the illness that your loved one has allows you to have the upper advantage as to what's going on internally. A lot of times we can look at our loved ones and they look okay to us. You know, we know they have an illness, but we may not know the ins and outs of the illness. So Pinterest, just doing a simple Google search, finding books, whatever it is that you can get on your loved one's illness, if they have an illness, is very, very helpful. Sometimes people just get older and they just need someone to help them out. So making sure you're researching, seeing if it's anything new out, seeing what's the latest out. My grandmother's in a wheelchair, so seeing what the latest products is, that's out, just so you can always give them the best care possible. And number 6, like researching the illness, kind of ties into number 7, which is advocating. You're their advocate. My grandmother can't take care of business, can't call and make an appointment for herself, or go to the grocery store or anything like that. So I am her advocate. My daughter is her advocate on ensuring that she gets the best possible care all the way around, whether it's with the doctor, it's with the sitter, it's with the dentist, whoever, just making sure that she gets the best possible care that it is to be received, because people, you get shuffled in the system, so you just become a number to some people, and get pushed aside. I went to school for social work, so I did dependency case management, which is totally different in a sense from elderly, doing geriatric like social work if I was to do that. So that's why this has been like an experience for me. I've learned so much from taking care of my grandmother. I've been able to offer advice to other people who are in need of services or have questions about taking care of a loved one, because it is a lot of work. The last thing is self-care. And this is a hard one even for me, because sometimes you just feel like you don't have the time to do things that you need to do. So doing I'm sorry, y'all, this man is walking in the garage, very strange, but making sure you take care of yourself is important. Even if it's going to get your nails done, going to get your toes done, just going to catch a movie, riding somewhere to your friend's house to speak with them or sit with them for a couple hours, hanging out with family, taking a day trip, taking a little mini vacation. You have to do stuff to recharge yourself, because you'll get burnt out fairly easy. I mean, it's hard. It's hard work, so the burnout comes quick. When I first got my grandmother, her schedule was so all over the place. She would wake up at 4 o'clock in the morning and say she was hungry, and I was waking up cooking for her just because of the whole situation. So I didn't want to feel like I was, or want her to feel like I was starving her. So our schedule, her time clock to our schedule was just off, and it became like just overwhelming really fast. So getting on that schedule, like allowing her to go to bed at a certain time, making sure the house is quiet, which our house is quiet 90% of the time anyways, but just setting that space up to where they like kind of know it's nighttime, it's daytime, because my grandmother has dementia. So just making sure we get a perfect balance to make sure everybody gets their rest, and can be productive the next day. Because at first I was just in a 2-bedroom apartment, because it was just me and my daughter. My son left a couple years ago for the military, so it was just me and my daughter. So when we got her, she was sharing a room with my daughter, which that we knew, or I knew immediately, that was going to be an issue, because my daughter had to go to school the next day, so she needed to get her rest. And just because my grandmother knew someone was in the room with her, she just talked all night long, like all night long. So one, we knew we had to get her own space. And then the next thing is, I knew that she needed something to help her sleep. Her internal clock was just off, which I know this is getting off the subject from self-care, but just trying to give you an example to show you how easy it is to get burnt out if you don't research and do stuff to take care of yourself, because you can get burnt out. And having that schedule to where everybody have a time and a place to do or to be, and you know, you're not just running around like a chicken with your head cut off. So I hope this video helps somebody. This has been something I've been wanting to talk about on YouTube for a while, but things have been crazy. But 2020, this is gonna go up, I don't know if I'm gonna put this video up on January 1st, because I'm recording it and today is December the 30th, so we still have one more day left in this year. But I wanted to go ahead and get this recorded, especially after today. I've been trying to get my grandmother into an oral surgeon for like the last 5 or 6 months, and I've been having issues because no one take her insurance, or there's no oral surgeons here in Tallahassee that take her particular insurance. But I actually called back to the office. I called 4 months ago, and the lady was like, oh, if it's medical, we can see her. But if she had teeth, we couldn't see her. Now, why didn't anyone go into details with this? We could have had her, she has like an ulcer on her gums. We could have had this taken care of months ago. So that's what I'm saying. Research, advocating. Like, I wasn't going to stop until I find her an oral surgeon, even if I have to go drive a couple hours away or to another city, to another state, just to get her that care that she needs, because I'm sure that affects her eating, or eating to where it doesn't hurt. She said it doesn't hurt, but I don't know if she's actually relaying the information back to me properly. Just because at a certain time they get to where they can't differentiate if something is wrong or right, if it hurts or don't hurt. So it's almost like it's like a confusion. So what I like to do is just double check. I may ask her and then try to ask her another way a little later, just so I'll try to weigh it out to make sure I'm getting the correct answer. Well, that is all I have for you all today. If you have anything you want me to talk about as far as caregiving, in which I'm going to have more than just caregiving on my channel. It's going to be a mixture of things. This is just about my experiences, my journeys, cooking, grocery hauls, like all that kind of stuff is going to be on my channel. But I know more and more we're having so many grandkids who are taking care of their grandparents. So I just felt like this video would be helpful to someone, because I mean, I was researching and looking at YouTube, and I found some stuff, but I wasn't really finding a lot of information. Just like recently, I tried to look for a video that helped talk about foods, like soft foods, which my grandmother is not totally on a soft food diet 100%, but that's what we're leaning more towards just because we were experiencing some aspiration. So we just decided to do the soft food diet in liquid. So if any of you have any recipes or different stuff, we do the basic things like sweet potato, mashed potatoes, grits, eggs. She loves oatmeal, so we put peanut butter in her oatmeal just to give her that protein, because meat is almost becoming non-existent. So she's almost like on a vegetarian or thing, because we're pretty much cutting meat out of her diet altogether. So if anybody have any questions, leave them on here. I'm gonna link up my Instagram soon. Is themartinarenee on Instagram. I may get one specifically for this page, but if not, feel free to hit me up on Instagram or on here in the comments, and let me know like what other kind of information you all would like on being a young caregiver to your grandparents. I found out a lot of helpful information. If you need help with getting sitter services or that kind of stuff in place, let me know, because it took me months to get that in place, and I can't afford to pay out of pocket for a sitter to come in every day while I go to work. So just those little small things like that, but it makes a big difference, and it makes caring for our loved one easy. So you guys have a good day and happy new year if this video is uploaded on January 1st, and leave me a comment. Thank you. Bye.